every time y'all do some shit and leave me out, it gets
Carter has something on you, then you need to get something on him.
You kill me, your life is over.
Monet is dead because of you!
We decide what happens next.
Get the f away from me!
What was you thinking, D?
The end of an era. Monet is officially gone, and there's definitely going to be hell to pay. I said it in my breakdown for episode 9, and I'm going to repeat what I said. This bitch Noma simply has to go. No ifs, buts, or maybes. Noma has to be taken off the chessboard. We've got the Tejadas looking for revenge, although there will be a few disagreements, pointing fingers at Kane, and probably one or two of them taking things into their own hands. But eventually, I do think we will see them coming together to get revenge. Whether they can actually succeed in bringing down Noma, I'm hoping so, but we do see them at an airstrip, and we do have to touch on the perspective of whether Noma could actually flee the US. Tariq still also has Detective Carter, but what's his next move? They have to find a way to get their hands on the CCTV, which is where Effie will come in. Further secrets will also be revealed. A few may even lose more, some may end up in handcuffs, and will we see another major death or two? So, as usual, we're going to run through the trailer for all things episode 10, dissecting all the scenes, clues, and generally what we can expect as we bid farewell to Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. Now, we do normally start with a synopsis for the episode, along with breaking down the episode title, but Power are being very secretive around the synopsis and episode title for episode 10. At this moment in time of this recording, nothing has been revealed as of yet. If and when the synopsis is released at some point this week, which I assume it will be, rest assured I will break it down as usual. Now, the trailer starts with Tariq holding a gun towards Detective Carter, him warning Tariq if he kills him, it's her life that's over. Although it's very difficult to tell because, as I've mentioned before, in many of my trailer breakdowns, the way they cut these scenes with these voiceovers, they do tend to manipulate them to throw us down the wrong direction. They did it recently in part 2 with the way they had Tasha speaking about Tariq's baby in present tense, which made us all assume the baby might actually potentially survive after 406. But if that is what Carter says, we can only assume he's talking about Tasha. The one person that Tariq cares about the most in this world is his mother, and Carter definitely knows. He threatened Tasha's witness protection at the very beginning of season 4, and he is going to use every single tool at his disposal to try and get out of this situation.
How you gonna get out of this one, brother?
So how does Tariq genuinely plan on getting out of this one? He's going to have to prove what he said in episode 9. He said that he's Tariq St. Patrick, the man who killed his father Ghost. However, for the majority of season 4, we haven't seen him tap into this inner ghost. He's been talking about turning into the apex predator, but he hasn't even come close. It's been 4 seasons now and he's still not learned how to throw a punch. His mom also told him, be smart, be strategic. So, let's see if he's able to show that he can be, because at some point in this scene, he is going to allow Carter to get the better of him yet again. I mean, once is bad enough, but twice. I'm not sure how Tariq genuinely has let this happen. Fortunately, Brayden will be on hand to shut this down straight away. Now, first things first for Tariq, I think he will need to make sure that his family are safe. He needs to make sure that this shit doesn't come back to Tasha, Yasmin, or Grandma Estelle. Secondly, he needs to figure out a way to get his hands on this CCTV footage. Carter played his ace up his sleeve in episode 9. The fact that he has Tariq and Brayden on CCTV killing Zion, that really is huge leverage to have. Without confirming that this CCTV is destroyed, Tariq can't touch Carter, not yet. So, this is where Effie comes in. I have gone back to episode 405, which is where we saw Detective Carter talking to Denise in his home, and I can confirm, this is definitely Detective Carter's house. So, we've got Effie in Carter's home opening up a laptop and probably searching for the CCTV footage. However, is Carter stupid enough to just leave the CCTV on his laptop, or even just keep one copy? Does he have multiple copies as a backup? Does he have anything in place where, if he is taken off the chessboard, a flash drive is then delivered to law enforcement? We do also have to look at this perspective because of what we saw from Cooper Saxe. He was someone who had a contingency plan in place just in case.
Carter has something on you, then you need to get something on him.
Now, we also have Davis McLean telling Tariq Carter has leverage over him, so he has to get leverage over Detective Carter, and that is one of the themes I have been focusing on in some of my breakdowns in part 2, leverage. In the world of power, leverage can sometimes put you in the driver's seat. It can also give you all the power that you need. So, what leverage can Tariq St. Patrick find on someone like Carter? We don't know too much about his past apart from the death of his wife Denise. We do know that he is a dirty cop who's been extorting mid-level drug dealers in the streets, but I don't feel like that's enough leverage to make someone like Carter sweat. However, I do know the perfect thing that could make Carter shit his pants. Evidence that he was the one who killed the congressman's brother, Kamal Tate. Don't forget he was the one who pulled the trigger on Kamal in 406. How and where Tariq is able to obtain this information? Maybe when Effie's browsing through his laptop, she comes across Kamal Tate's dashcam footage that he may have stole after he killed Kamal at the end of 406. That's the only thing I can think of at this moment in time that could really hurt Detective Carter. It's also something that could also bring Rashad Tate back into the picture just one last time. And I have said it before, I do think Tariq just killing Carter is way too predictable. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rashad Tate come back and him being the one to end Carter, or Blanca Rodriguez or perhaps Tamika Washington returning to slap the handcuffs on him. So, let's see what kind of leverage Tariq is able to find on Carter. I personally believe it has to be the fact he was the one who killed Kamal Tate. Now we've also got Brayden warning Tariq, Noma's coming for them, and of course she is. She's gonna want to wipe everybody off the chessboard because if she doesn't, they're gonna come for her instead. And I think that brings me perfectly onto this battle between the Tejadas and Noma. Now we have Monet's body being dragged out from the scene of the crime, with the end written over this particular scene, which does symbolize it is the end of an era. It's the end for Monet Tejada. And if anybody had any doubts about Monet's death, then what we see here, along with Dru screaming, "Monet's gone because of you," that should put any kind of theories of Monet being alive to bed. And on Dru saying Monet's gone because of you, we can only assume he's talking to Kane, throwing the blame in Kane's direction because of how he got into bed with Noma. He's probably thinking if Kane hadn't left the family, then Monet would still be here. But this isn't the time to be pointing fingers or throwing the blame on each other. They have to put aside whatever feelings they have and work together, because if they don't, there are going to be more casualties. The fact that the Tejada kids have now lost both their parents, they have to do what Lorenzo and Monet have preached since the beginning of Ghost. Be family first.
Every time y'all do some shit and leave me out, it gets fucked up.
Now we also hear Kane saying every time they do something and leave him out, it doesn't always go to plan. Shit gets fucked up, while we see him smelling one of Monet's fragrances. He's definitely hurting at this moment in time, no doubt. Monet was there for him when something super significant happened in his past, and both Alex Lepre and Woody McLean have alluded to him potentially being molested when he was a child. Monet was there for him when nobody else was, and that's why he was always such a mama's boy. But on their next move, expect a few disagreements. Kane doesn't want to be left out of the plans, but we've got Diana telling Kane they're going to decide what happens next, as Kane kind of just sits there, probably still kind of coming to terms with what's just happened. It's a death that will definitely hit Kane the most because of what we just went through. However, what is the Tejada's next move? How are they going to get revenge? Blood is definitely the only answer, and blood is what they're going to go for. We've got Kane, Dru and Diana entering a spot to take no prisoners, which might potentially be the location where Noma's hiding Anya. It does look kind of similar. We've got Tariq questioning Diana, what was she thinking, as Anya and Tariq flee from this location, which we will come to in detail in just a moment. But on Kane, Dru and Diana, there is going to be a lot of bodies that are going to be dropping in episode 10. A lot of Noma's guys will fall. We've also got Diana shooting at someone through a gate, closely followed by Kane in the background, but they will also find themselves at an airstrip. We've got a black SUV driving across the airstrip, and it does look like Diana and Dru are here too, with them being forced to put their hands in the air as well as them getting on the ground. So it seems like law enforcement are here too, potentially slapping the handcuffs on Diana and Dru, and I do wonder, considering they're at the airstrip, I wonder if Noma and her brother are trying to flee the States to either go back to Nigeria or go back to London. At some point, Noma will find herself on the back foot. The Tejadas will definitely close in on her, and when she realizes the walls are closing in, it's gonna leave just one option: leave the States. That's why I think they're probably at the airstrip, trying to get to Noma before she disappears. Now we've also got Kane going on the offensive, with Diana shouting his name, where it does kind of look like her hands are kind of tied behind her back, so maybe she is handcuffed. But on Kane going on the offensive, Kane's gonna do what he has to do. I mentioned how he was a mama's boy, and how this death will probably hit him the hardest, so he will want to be the one who will want to put it right. Whether he does or doesn't, let's wait and see. And let's see if we end up seeing another Tejada death, because it does seem like Kane does get shot on his arm. It is the very last frame of the trailer, but he definitely does get caught. And if Kane does fall after what we saw in episode 9, I think Power fans will riot. Now we've also got Anya and Noma in a real heated argument, with Anya telling Noma to get away from her. So she's probably figured out exactly who her mother is, what she does for a living, and also how she was probably the one behind her father's death. That is a secret that I do think needs to be revealed at some point in episode 10. I also wouldn't be surprised if Noma moves Anya without her will to an undisclosed location, and Tariq goes on a little mission to try and free her, and that's why we see them making a quick escape. We know when shit hits the fan, Noma will always try and whisk Anya away to safety, but their relationship is probably dead and buried after the latest secrets are revealed, which I am expecting to happen in episode 10. Now elsewhere, we also have Davis MacLean looking very worried, with what looks like Pella Tanaka sat on his right hand side in a courtroom. And we all know Davis MacLean's law license has been suspended. He hasn't been disbarred as of yet, so maybe it's his final hearing whether he finds out whether he's been disbarred, or is he actually facing more charges? Could Davis MacLean end up in prison, and his story in essence going full circle? His brother spent a large portion of his life in prison, taking the rap for a murder that Davis committed. So, will Davis end up right where his brother was after fighting so hard to become a lawyer, and after fighting for so many years to free his brother? It would actually kinda make sense for his character who has nothing left. He loses his law license, everything in the streets is utter chaos. He loses his brother, his wife has also filed for divorce, so what's left for Davis MacLean? Is it prison? But that's a breakdown of another action-packed trailer for episode 10. The Tejadas are going to be on the hunt for Noma, but will they manage to get revenge, or could Noma actually flee the States? With Carter, what's Tariq's move? Will he be able to get his hands on the CCTV and leverage over Carter? And what happens with the rest of the crew such as Effie? Will she make it to Stanford? What happens with Brayden, Davis MacLean, Anya Covington, and all the rest? Drop all your thoughts and predictions down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.